And we're live. Does it say live on your end?
It
Says live.
does,
Okay, there was a bit of a lag there, so I wasn't sure.
and it's yellow.
Awesome. Good evening, everybody. Susan Bachelder here, and this is our regular Wednesday evening hangout with mentors. This one is very important, though, because we aim to help you get ready for 2016. Hot, powerful topic that I think all of us don't really spend enough time on. So we're talking about goals. Actually, all week we're talking about goals, but tonight in specific, we're going to get really serious about it. Well, we'll try to stay as serious as possible anyway.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know about that, but yeah, we'll try.
and I have the usual pleasure of having my friend and partner Tammy Montgomery tonight. Hey, Tammy.
How's it going, Susan?
Awesome, awesome.
Good.
And before we get into the topic and our stories and stuff, I want to introduce Corey Blackmere. It's very much on purpose, as usual, why we invited him onto the panel tonight, and I haven't even really told him the why. But anyway, Corey Blackmere, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Susan and Tammy. I appreciate it very much. I'd like to know why I was invited.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Well, here's the thing, and as I introduce the topic before I pass it over to the two of you, I'll just get right into and share the why with that. So kind of the just to separate this particular live event tonight, and I'm going to pull it up because I'm going to get all tongue twisted when I say it because it's kind of like there's some big words in this phrase, but anyway. Kind of our focus is to help you, all of you, that are our audience that are listening. Some of you are just interested in kind of finding out about us. Some of you came because you were invited because of the topic goal setting. And some of you are already in our inner circle and working with us. So thank you all for coming. So just to really focus in on the theme, we want to help you shift from a wandering generality to a meaningful specific. And we'll get into exactly what that phrase means, but it's taken from a quote, and that means if we're wandering around aimlessly, whether it's in life or in business, in our work or our just from day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year, all of a sudden you can be going along and not have accomplished what you wish you would have. So we need to get specific. We need to get serious about it and get specific, put a lot of energy into it. So that's what that means. You can create a lot more success if you put some planning into it. Hence, that leads into why Corey was invited. Corey is a really impressive, very articulate person with everything that he does. And since he started working with us and he actually did some mentoring with us, it's just quite impressive what he does. He's very strategic and specific with everything that he does, from his daily activities, his daily work, to his communication, and how he does everything. So I just knew for sure that he would have a lot to add with this topic. And both Tammy and I really enjoy rewarding and edifying people that do put their heart and soul into what they do and appreciate in return what we do for them. So I thought this would be the ideal topic to bring him out with us. So that's why. Does that kind of explain it?
Yeah, that explains it. Great.
Awesome.
I appreciate the kind words, too.
You're welcome. So should we, in case there's people that don't know us, would you like us to each start off with telling a little bit about who we are and why we're here?
Sure.
Do you think we should, Tammy?
Sure. Absolutely.
All right. Well, how about you start, Tammy?
You go first. No.
I like always making you go first because sometimes then I get to avoid it.
I know, and that's what I forget. And I'm like, dang it, we did forget to ask Susan to talk about herself. So this time it's not going to slip by me. We'll talk, right?
Okay,
Okay.
well, I'll just take it from the angle specifically on the topic. This is my fourth specific year in a row going into making a big deal about goal planning right around this time. In fact, I think I'm about 2 weeks late. So I specifically write extra content on goal planning to help other people do goal planning. And then I do my own goal planning for the next year. Like I make a big deal about it because it's the reason why I've been able to achieve anything all my life. So it's always been a passionate topic of mine.
Hmm.
I'm obsessive about pushing, challenging myself and other people. So that tells you a little bit about me. And I was a critical care registered nurse for 15 years. And that goal I set literally when I was about 4 years old, from as much as I can tell from storytelling from my mama. And literally, a lot of what I did, a lot of what I studied was aiming at that goal. So that's literally how far I look ahead and take stepping stone goals, put them into place, and then do that. So yeah, I did that for 15 years, and then a car accident switched my path abruptly, and then I found this online business industry, and literally it saved my house, my life, lots of things. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to stay, and that's it for me. On to you, Tam.
Cool. And I like hearing your story, Susan. And I think it's the angle and the story that everybody has to hear because of so many people that come to us and they're in the same situation. They say, you know what, Tammy, Susan, I've lost my job, or I've lost this, or I've lost that. So we are not immune to those feelings. You know what I'm saying? So I just really like having people hear that story of yours, and kudos to you because honestly, I mean, it's just amazing what you have accomplished, and I'm super excited to be working with you this year. I'm just ever so grateful. So I always have to point that out. So thank you very much, Susan.
Thank
Um,
you. I'll just
thanks.
add right there for like the for my first 3 years online, I was looking for someone who had a similar passion and drive and insane work ethic as mine, so that I could work together. Because I always wanted like the ultimate partner. Like, I need somebody that would complement what I do and just would drive as hard as me. And I finally found her, so I'm thrilled.
Wow, I'm honored. And sometimes I'm a ridiculous workaholic, and sometimes I even have to admit it. And the reason why I think, and this is just kind of going to give everybody a Reader's Digest version of who I am, what does Tammy Montgomery bring to the table, how I'm able to help people, is because honestly, I grew up on a farm. And so here in New York, and if you didn't work, then you basically didn't eat, right? So I have very much blue collar grass, roots kind of thing, and it's just kind of embedded in me. But I just decided that, I woke up one day and I said, you know what, I don't want to go that route with my whole family. They're the factory worker mentality, farmers and things like that. Nothing wrong with that, but I wanted more excitement in my life. I wanted more adventure. You know what I'm saying? So for 26 years, I've been on the entrepreneurial path, and I've been just so super lucky because there's just so many people that I've been able to meet. And along the way, we actually we started up a carpet cleaning business for our first business, and that was a little bit like, wow, that's a lot of work, right? So we decided to start using our brain, and we got into mortgages and real estate, and we did that for about 15 years, and I was able to actually raise our two children, and live very comfortably, take a lot of vacations, got used to the real good life, right? And then when the crash came in 2006, 2008, sort of similar to Susan, a market crash, not a car crash, and that's what we have in common is there crashes, and we had to find something. We were desperate to still stay home with our kids. I still wanted to homeschool Robbie, and I actually had to. I had no choice but to homeschool Robbie. He was getting bullied in school. Now I'm doing that with Amanda. So I always wanted to find a home-based business that that was a lifestyle business. And honestly, because I was actually kind of burnt out. I was burnt out of the belly-to-belly sales, mortgages and real estate. So that's the reason why I came online. And God bless you. and and it just changed things for me to know that I can use simple systems and just really get in touch with people and work with people online and help people attain what they want to do. Like, in other words, they want the lifestyle, right? They want the freedom, and that's what they come to us and they seek that out. So that's just a little bit about me. In there's parts that I leave out because, like I said, it's Reader's Digest version. Back to you, Susan.
Thank you, Tammy. And
Hmm.
what I really admire about, because you've been doing this for, what did you say, 26 years?
Yes, correct.
So you bring to the table a different angle because you've done during your entrepreneurial journey, you've done different kinds of business. So you bring such a vast knowledge to the table, and then you've also got that partner, that husband of yours, that has like a different kind. He thinks about it differently and he does it differently. So of course you bring a piece of him to the conversations and to the table as well. So
Yes.
talk about huge value that you bring to all of us in the inner circle.
Yeah, if it wasn't for him, he's the one that kind of kicked me in the butt and said, you know what, you can do this. I know you can do this, and because I had other figures in my life that just kept telling me no, no, no. And then when I met Bob when I was 20, he says yes, yes, yes. So his yes, yes, yes kept getting into my mind, and I'm like, okay, I can do this. So my first house flip made $52,000. My God, did I get confidence after that? So you know what I mean? So that's just the journey and the whole, yeah, if it wasn't for him and showing me and just kind of leading me the way, and we've been to so many events and mindset events and everything like that, that it's been incredible in the past 26 years. It hasn't always been, like I said, bowl of cherries, but yeah, because of his influence, I have a lot more to share with people. Absolutely.
That's awesome. And one piece at a time, we're getting it recorded.
Yeah, yeah, you are. I shared a lot more at the event, though, didn't I, Susan?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm. We've
So,
always done goals too. That's what I was gonna say too.
yes.
I actually told him that this is a topic tonight, and he's like, "That's cool because that's what we've always done: checklists, goals. Whenever you start something, yep,
Yeah, absolutely. Very and specific and measurable, right?
that's correct."
Yeah. So, Corey, once again, thank you for joining us. Could you please tell the audience who is Corey and why are you here with us?
Okay, Corey Blackmer. Let's see. I spent I come out of the electrical sales industry, like manufacturer's rep, that type of thing. So, um, and spent 27 years coaching sports as well. And so what happened was, as you move through the last 37 years in the workforce as such, the industry that I work in has changed. I gave up the coaching part of it, and so I had to look. I'm the kind of guy that's probably never going to retire. I'd go nuts. So I had to start looking for something that I would like to do, that I would enjoy, and everything like that. So when looked at the internet because one, I liked being able to talk to people and being involved with people and everything like that. But I also like times where, you know what, I kind of walk my own line, and so it gave me more control to be able to control my destiny more so when I get out of the electrical and into internet full time. So I want to be able to control my destiny that much more because the electrical industry and the workforce as such has changed so much in the last 37 years. It's unbelievable. So I went online and I started looking for things. And then, not unlike the two of you, I've had situations in my life that, have put blockades in there and as well. And we've all had our rocky roads and ups and downs. I won't get into a lot of it right now. But so when I started online looking for things, there's a million different directions you can go. And so I was pulled this way and I was pulled that way and different directions and thought I was going down the right direction. And so I took a step back and I decided to, how do you say, sit and do more studying than listening. So I took a lot of information, started searching out people more than anything. And so, especially in the last year or so, and that was how I put the mandate for myself in the last year, was to actually narrow down and start to work with people that I wanted to work with, not because I was listening to somebody else. So of course I found you two ladies, and really surprising was one is only Susan, you're only 2 hours away from me, which was a surprise in itself. And so some things happened in my personal life as well that had to make me think of things, because when the work world controls you, you can't always do what you want, go where you want, be with the people you want to be with. So I want to spend more time with my family, and my wife went through some health issues with cancer and kidney issues and that type of thing, and you can't um, you can't be with her 100% of the time when you have to be in the workforce. So therefore, going into this type of situation where you can control your future better and look after your family the way you want to be, and be able to do it from anywhere. That's sort of why I went to the internet and why I narrowed down my choices and that type of thing. So, I mean, there's a lot more to it than just that, but it sort of gives a little, like Tammy said, Reader's Digest version of where I come from and why I went to this, into this, I guess, niche or this market as such.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. And I want to kind of relate what you were saying to specifically to our topic tonight. Choosing to build your business in this online industry gives us a lot of freedom to set our goals, to choose our goals, and to work on our goals how we choose. No, like when you are working for an employer or for a company, there's a lot of blockades and rigid borders that prevent your freedom of those goals that you set. So it's a different kind of freedom. So we have freedom in our goal setting even.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And what happened? I mean, even in the workforce, you have goal setting, but it's within the the lines of the manufacturer that you're working for, the company you're working for, right? Or wherever it is, whether you're real estate or wherever. Even us being commissioned employees, we still have a line or budgets we have to meet along their guidelines. So my personal goals become secondary, and that's not what I want. I want my personal and business goals to align together, right? I've always done goals and goal setting, whether it's coaching hockey or in business or personal, but they didn't always align. Like with the coaching of the hockey and the baseball, that had to align with management as well, right? And workforce has to align with them. My personal goals then became secondary, not what I want. And it's taken 30 years, to say, you know what, enough is enough. I want them to align the way I want them to align. So if I'm not going to retire, I may as well transition into something that I want to enjoy doing, with my business and personal goals aligning and going in the direction that is best for me and my family. Does that make sense?
It absolutely makes sense. And I hope that you as the audience are paying attention to those details and taking notes, because that's part of what, within our stories, part of what we're sharing with you is how to do goal setting well, like being specific, choosing goals, writing up your goals so that they align with you and what you want and where you want to go. Like these are all how you do goal setting well, right?
Exactly.
Tammy, do you want to speak specifically on that angle
Yeah,
of it?
absolutely. In order for my family, and the way we've always set goals is that it's money first. Because if you don't have the money first, then you can't have freedom anywhere else. In other words, you got to get your financial house in order first. And so whenever you're starting a business, it doesn't matter if you're used to 9 to 5, you got to get into the mode of really seriously writing down numbers, writing down, okay, this is what I'm going to be doing every single day to work on my business to bring in revenue. So it's a different mindset than most people are used to. And that's the thing, is like, it's just so now embedded into me, ingrained into me, because of almost working this half my life. I don't want to give away my age, but I'm just saying, um, well, more than half my life. Um, but yeah, you have to honestly write down your, and it's simple math, whatever you need to bring in every single month to cover your bills, right? I mean, you have certain financial freedom goals, right? So that's what you always have to start out with. So whatever your money that you need to make, so like let's say you need to make 10 grand a month, then obviously you want to make 12. I mean, it's just real simple math. I sucked at math. In fact, my guidance counselor told me, man, you're not going to go to college. Now I make more money than him. But but that's because I did that on purpose, because I wanted to prove something. So I pull up in my Lexus one day and said, hey, see what you told me, not to go to college, isn't that great? I didn't go to college. I started my own business at the age of 20. But anyway, just sorry, Susan, I get off track. Little funny stories here and there. But yeah, you want to definitely, when you create your goals, because of my goals that I created this year, I was able to take, and because of this business, I was able to take time for myself. If that makes sense to anybody, I'll break it down, and it's not going to be a long story, I promise. I talked about this a little bit last night, but let's say, for instance, that I worked a 9-to-5 job. There's no way that I could have lost the weight that I lost this year, bar none. There's no way, because the schedule that I have, I do weight training in the morning now, and I do, my exercises in the morning, and then I, take my time for my family, and then I do my marketing, and then I take phone calls in the afternoon, and then I walk again at night. Like, there'd be no way with, you know what I'm saying? Like, literally, it's a lifestyle, and so stuff is working in the background while I'm doing all this stuff for myself, So I'm eating right, I'm losing weight. There'd be no way my employer would fire me. Like, there's no way, because I take so much time for myself and my family. So there'd be like no way that I could do those things. See what I'm saying? So when you set up your life in the way you want, and honestly, my doctor says you got to do something wrong or something different. Otherwise, you're going down the wrong path. You're gonna basically die, I think, is what he's trying to tell me. So honestly, it's sad, but there's so many people that believe that the way to financial freedom is to keep working and going up that ladder, at that corporate ladder, and it's not. I mean, there's ways you can create your financial freedom through a home-based business, and that's what we're here to help with. Help them with their goals, with their marketing, so that they can experience the same feelings and fun, honestly, because we do have a heck of a lot of fun when we work together.
Sometimes too much.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I'm like, is this really work? It's not. But I mean, I'm the most serious I've been in a long time right now. Tonight, Susan, don't you think?
Yes,
It's
we're very
uncomfortable for
serious.
me to be this serious.
I'm starting to think, okay, it's going to break out right away. I'm going to pull out. I want to pull out a couple more points from what both of you have said, and just to make sure that the audience has notes to take. Both Corey and Tammy talked about the different areas of life. So when you're goal planning, of course, it is very important. Like Tammy said, you have to make sure that you have money goals. How much do you need? How much do you want? Where do you want to increase it? Like, very specific. And the reason, like, first of all, so that you can reach those money goals, but also by reaching those, you have more freedom to make better goals for the other parts of your life. So your family, your relationships, your health, your wellness, and your personal time. Make sure that you're not just making goals for your business or your money or your work. You have to cover all areas of your life so that all of you is planned and goal-oriented and strategic.
Mm-hmm. Balance, in other words.
Yeah. Yes.
You're right, Susan. It's everything. It's a whole big picture, right? It's finances, it's health and wellness, and the whole big picture. So when you sit down, personally, like I'm going through, like yourself, I go through it at this time of the year for 2016 as such. incorporating that into a long-term 5-year plan as well, right? So is my next year still fitting into my 5-year plan, right? And so if you're not looking at the whole picture, if you're not looking at your health, then you're not going to be able to enjoy the financial freedom. And I want to go back to one thing that Tammy said too, when she said about working for corporate America there and everything. And the average North American probably doesn't even realize this, but their average salary increase is somewhere around, this is for the average person, somewhere around 3% a year. And if you look at that and you go into the workforce at 20 years old or 18 years old, it'll take you 20 to 23 years to double your salary. And in the whole time, costs of living and everything's going up. And that average North American, whether they're Canadian or from the US, they don't make their own goals because they just get up and go to work and do their thing, and they plan their 2-week vacation every year or 3-week vacation every year, and that's what their plans and goals are contained in. So they don't actually look at it and say, very few of them anyways will look at it and say, okay, if I'm working in corporate America and I started in the warehouse at a distribution company, that I want to be, inside sales and outside sales and sales management and manager by this period of time. They don't do that. They go to work, they collect their check, and they slowly go through without any goals in life. Most of them don't know how to set them. They're never taught about it, right? So that hopefully when people are listening to this, they can take something out of it and start it. And everybody sets their goals differently, right? My goals, the way I put my goals together is different than the way Tammy does and the way Susan does. Not saying it's right or wrong. It's what works for me. So you take bits and pieces of information that you can get from people and mentors, and you put it together so that it benefits you and the way that you want to put your goal structures together. But if you don't even attempt at it, guess what? On December, what are we today? December 18th? December 18th, 2016, you're going to be doing the same thing as you did today.
That's right. You'll remain that wandering generality.
Right there, yeah. That's exactly right, Susan.
Yeah, if you keep doing the same thing over and over, it's the definition of insanity, right?
Yes, exactly. So one of the first benefits, and I had that kind of in the description that we were all sharing today, one of the biggest or first benefits of goal setting and putting a lot of energy into it is control. Then you take the ownership, the responsibility, and the control of where you're going into your own hands.
Yep. Your personal accountability, right?
Yeah, and the other sad thing is, and I've talked about this before in other presentations and things like that and calls, is that the average person will actually plan their vacations more than they will plan their actual. You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously? I mean, we plan a lot of events and stuff like that now, but I'm saying, Susan and I do, but I'm saying, the actual a vacation where they're going to Disneyland or whatever, they'll put more thought into that than they will actually put into their own financial freedom. That's number. Scary. It's crazy. It is scary. Yeah. No wonder the vacation industry is like huge, but
and it really doesn't take that much planning. Like the week that I just spent with my daughter Jessica in Vegas, it took me about 30 minutes.
Yep, 30 minutes. Yep, you told me. You said your flight's booked. I'm done. Boom. Got the room.
She's like, what?
I know. And that's the thing, is just take 30 minutes of planning and then execute the other 90, and there you go. You got like what we teach, the DMO, daily method of operations. It's like, it's like crazy thinking, like people will say, oh, wow, that's awesome money you make. You must be like working all the time. Are you kidding me? Like, I wouldn't be able to tell what I did this year. I'm not. My phone's with me on the walk. Sure, if someone's going to sign up, of course I'm going to answer it, right? But what better way to live life, make money while you're out and about, having fun, being with your family, and maybe you are on like you last week on vacation in Vegas on the Strip, and you and I are like, okay, cool, you know what I mean? Another team member. I mean, that's the lifestyle, and that's the kind of goals that's honestly, perfect right there, in my opinion. Because I have tried other businesses, brick and mortar, and believe me, I could not get away from them. I had 22 employees at one point. My goals were actually like their beck and call. That's what I felt like. My goals were not my own goals. They were there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so you had boundaries to what you
I
could do with
did.
your goals.
I did. I had boundaries, and it was crazy. I mean, we went on vacation one time. We came back, and a lot of our deals were being stolen right out from underneath our feet. I mean, we went away for Bob's dad. He was ill, and we came back, and the restaurant was a disaster. He was stealing money from us. I mean, geez, just the kind, you know what I mean? It's like this kind of lifestyle, internet, especially specific goals to this kind of niche in this business are much different than a Subway franchise or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's another thing you have to like think about. Like when you're writing your goals down, they have to be specific to, okay, now I'm going to do this X amount of lead generation today, X amount of people, you know what I'm saying? It's like so different from another business.
That's right. And let's veer off into the personal goals a little bit. And I know both you, Tammy, and Corey can add to this, but Tammy, to get the results that you've gotten in the past, well, since May, is it 8 months, in your weight loss, how did you, with your goal planning, you were very specific and you would, and stepping stone, like how long you walked, you would increase it in increments, right?
Yes.
And then one more thing I'd like to highlight, well, maybe two. As you went along, like the reason why you were able to achieve that goal and actually you superseded that goal, like you told yesterday on the blab, you achieved your goal plus you've passed it. And one of the big reasons why is because you were so passionate about achieving that goal. So do you think it's important to choose goals and set goals that resonate with you and, like Corey mentioned, align with you and that you're really passionate about achieving?
Mhm. Yeah, I was really passionate about it. I'm trying to like there just was no description of when I set my mind to it. It was like something flipped in me. Like a switch flipped inside of me. And the thing is like everybody's got one too. Everybody's got a switch, and we're just here to help you flip it. Flip that switch to say, okay, I'm doing it. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired of the way I looked.
Right.
So yeah, I absolutely superseded my goal. I said I was going to do 50 pounds. I've done over 70. I haven't even really kept track anymore. I've lost like 8 sizes. I mean, everybody can tell a difference. I walked into the bank today, Susan, and one of my friends said, "Whoa." She looked at me and she said, "What in the heck are you doing?" So things like that, of course, is going to make me more motivated, right? So the more people, you know, when people compliment you and stuff like that. But yeah, specifically, I said to myself every single day, I will not miss my walk. I will not miss my walk. I think I missed it one time when we were at the event and I had leg cramps and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe my body's so used to this. And then maybe one other time when we had to go to Florida this year to see Bob's mom. I think there was one time I missed it because of her illness. That's it, like 2 or 3 times since Memorial Day. And I just promised to myself, it's not a goal. I set promises, so I'm a little different than everybody else because I don't want to break my promise to myself. So I promised myself that I would do this and I would not stop. And the word unstoppable, and then with your help, Susan, it's been achievable.
So that really highlights how important it is to set goals that are important to you, maybe goals that really like mean the world to you, goals that you're so passionate about, like they make you cry. You want it more
Mhm.
than you want to breathe. Or,
Absolutely. And it's not usually like what that money or what that, like, let's say, you know, it's not that I want to look good. It's like inside I was hurting. Like I literally had AFib. I don't have it anymore. I had high blood pressure. I don't have that anymore. I had sleep apnea. I don't have that anymore. All these things that are inside me, I don't have anymore. Of course, I look great on the exterior. I look better. What I'm saying is that, you know, and then of course, you know, people compliment you, and it's just, it's great. But I'm saying, like, with money, let's say people are setting a money goal of 10,000. Really, you got to get more specific than that. You got to say what that $10,000 will do for you. Will
Yes.
that move you into another home? Will that give you a whatever your materialistic things, or can you start donating to charity, or can you help your mother-in-law in Florida, or can you do this, or can you do that? See what I'm saying? So you don't
Yes.
really want to set that money goal. You want to set that goal saying, okay, you know, same with me. Okay, I didn't say I wanted to be in a size X. I said I want to get rid of my blood pressure, my, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's the
I don't want to go
result.
to the doctor again. I don't want him to tell me I don't trust you, Tammy. Things like that.
Yes.
That's the kind of goals we're talking. Nitty gritty.
Exactly. And the results of achieving that goal and what that's going to do for your life, the
Correct.
benefit. Yeah.
Exactly.
Corey, would you like to speak on that? Because that's getting deep. And that is where you're going to make good goals if you get this kind of deep strategy. If you
Mm-hmm.
really really get it. I hope as the you in the audience, I hope you're really like starting to really think about this. 'Cause that's really important.
When I'm going to break it down to let's just pick like 2016. Let's pick 1 year. So this next year, if you're sitting down looking at your goals, and this is how I do it, and I look at the big picture. The 2016 has to fit into the next 5-year plan as well. But let's just break it down to 2016. So in December of 2016, you look at the big picture and you say, where do I want to be? Where do I want to be financially? Where do I want to be health-wise? Where do I want to be with my wellness? And where do I want to be with my work and that type of thing? Where do I want to be with my family? So you're looking at that, right? And you're saying, what's the big picture in December? And what I do is I put that down there, and then I break it back down, and I say, okay, so what do I have to do within 6 months to meet that? And then what do I have to do in 3/4 of the year to meet that? And what do I have to do in 1/4 of the year to meet that? So I'm breaking it down into quarters that way. And then it breaks down into the month, then it breaks down into the week, and then it breaks almost down to the day, right? So if you want, and I'm going to pick this easy, if you want to do $365,000 in a year, well, that's how many days you got to do $1,000 days, right, for your finances, right? That's a simple way to pick it. But if you pick your figure, where do you got to be in 6 months? And then I look at when I've got that broken down. I do the same thing when I was coaching hockey. You have a season of hockey, and you look at what you've got, and what do you want to accomplish by the end of the year? You know, sometimes when you look at your team that you're not going to be the championship team, but what do you want to accomplish with these hockey players? And so you break that down. And then I always relate it to the 5 W's and the H. And when I say 5 W's and H, I always ask myself the who, the why, the what, the where, and the how. So when I look at a goal, I say, who do I want to be working with that for, and who am I working that for? Like, is it me and my wife? The who is maybe I just want to lose some weight like Tammy did. That's for herself there, right? And then you got to really know why you're setting these goals. So you got to ask these questions as you're putting it together, okay? These are just the way I do things. And then as you go along, what happens is you get yourself wins. You've hit that goal, you've made that goal and everything. And so when you get wins, like in hockey or baseball or whatever, that motivates you. So when you get your wins happening, then you got to take some time and you got to reward yourself. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you give that little reward, it's like, okay, I've done that, I've accomplished that. And don't get me wrong, when you break it down and at the end of the first quarter you say, I didn't quite make this one. So what? You just stretched it a little bit, right? But you've got it on paper. And so what I also do is I break it down into a calendar, like into a written calendar, like I've talked about this before, right? It's all broken down, and so that I can relate to that and look at that. So all I'm trying to say to people is look at the big picture, break it back down into the easy step-by-step basis, because then what you're doing is you're creating success one step at a time, right? And every time you look at these goals, when you look at those 5 W's and the H, like how you're going to do it and where you're going to do it and everything like that, that all gives you that purpose and that passion all coming together. But it also then, at the end of the year, and don't get me wrong, this last year I didn't accomplish everything I wanted to accomplish. I was probably 96% there. but some things took me sideways in the last couple of months of the year, and those things will happen. I'm not kicking myself in the butt for it. All I've done now is incorporated that into my next 12 months, right? Is that all making sense?
Absolutely. That's a great way of breaking down essentially exactly what we've been talking about.
Yeah, I like that, how you worded that. That's awesome.
Yeah. It gives you a lot more control. That's where you get your measurable in, and you can measure it, and then you know where you need to increase your efforts so that then you can reach it.
Exactly. Yeah, and especially when you, like, I put it down on scrap paper to begin with. I don't throw it into a calendar yet or anything like that. I just thoughts hit paper. And I know, Tammy, you're just getting to bed when I'm getting up in the morning to go for my coffee.
Yeah, really. It's true.
I'm an early riser, and I enjoy that because I get out of the house and I give my wife her space, and I take, if I got a library of books over here. I take my books and I take my notes and that type of thing, and I go off to a coffee shop, and that's my time for my personal development, reading and relooking at some of my goals and jotting down some notes and everything. And then I've got that, and I start my day in a positive footstep, and there's no negativity there, right?
Exactly. That's awesome. So on that note, kind of lots of the things we've been talking about, I want to give the audience, I hope you have a pen and paper, and if not, go grab them. And this is what we are talking about. So I'll give you a minute to grab it. And then write up and down, write these letters down. S, then M, A, R, and then T. So write SMART in up and down in a list form. And the S stands for specific. So be specific about your goals and your plans. Be specific about all of it. Details, like Tammy said, a number figure. And then the M is measurable. Make sure that your goals and all the details that you put are something that you can measure. The A is for attainable. It has to be somewhat realistic. You want to challenge yourself, but it has to be something that is attainable.
Yeah.
And the R stands for relevant. Make sure it, and again, we've been keep on repeatedly touch on this. Make sure it's relevant to you. It's got to be important to you. And then the T stands for time bound. So whether they're the stepping stone goals to help you reach that bigger goal, but they all have to be a time. Like if it's a goal that you have for one day or a week or a month or the year to achieve for the end of 2016, let's say, but they have to be time bound. Otherwise, you can't really measure them, right? So that's the SMART rules to apply to goal setting, just to give you some like nuts and bolts to go away with.
What's the first one, Susan?
Specific.
The
SMART.
S, specific.
Yeah. Specific.
Yeah.
This is good for a PDF.
Yeah, I have it all in a document. I can shoot it over to you if you want.
Cool, yeah.
Yeah, and it's in an article too. I'm going to let you guys carry on with that and just go quickly grab my power cord. I'll be right back.
Okay.
So Tammy,
Yes.
when I sort of pointed out how I go about setting my goals over like the big picture and then break it down and everything like that, and whether it's finances and health and all that kind of stuff. So when you do it, do you take a month by month and add it together like a ladder system? I know a lot of people do that. Or how do you sort of look at it?
I kind of look at it as a quarterly goal, but I actually break it down to days, to literally almost hours goals.
Right.
Because most of the time, and when I teach and train and when I do mentoring, I actually just tell people right now your immediate goal is to generate one lead, let's say. And I'm talking specifically for the niche that I'm in, home-based business. So I think that so many times people get overwhelmed if you tell them let's look at your 1 year goal, because they're like, oh my gosh, I can't even see tomorrow. You know what I mean? So Seriously, so with like people that are really not used to goal setting or promise setting, because I call it promises. I just learned that from a billionaire. He said, "You won't break your promise. You will break your goals."
Yeah.
So a billionaire, I listen to billionaires, right? So specifically that you have to, when you're looking at it, just if you have a calendar or something like that, break it down literally. Like, what am I going to do Monday through Thursday, for instance? Monday through Thursday for me is promoting days. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Fridays are follow-up days. Saturday, Sundays, my family days. See what I'm saying? Like, you get on a schedule. First you get on a schedule, and then you can write down your goals, and then you write down, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So for me, checklists are almost the same as a promise goal kind of thing. Like, in other words, I'll break it down. I won't do what you call it. I just actually have, like, okay, personal goals, family goals. My daughter knows when she specifically has to get her education in. We have time frame goals. My husband has a time frame goal. Robbie has a time frame. So everybody in they're all used to it. And my kids are only 17 and 21. So they're already on their way, like, far exceeding most kids their age. And I'm not trying to boast or brag, but it's the truth. Most kids their ages are looking at, okay, where do I go to party? Not my kid. You know what I mean? Robbie has a corporation. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, so those kinds of goals, and I want that. Like, I want Amanda to have a corporation and the business set up so that she can not have to pay so many taxes. I mean, there's just you know what I'm saying? Like, goals like that we we suggest, and then they get done. And procrastination is just a horrible thing, because if you write your goals down and they look great on paper, right? But if you don't take action and you break it down on, okay, well, how do I do that, right? The how-to comes into play. So how do I generate leads? Well, then you got to learn how to generate leads, and then you got to listen to our training. You got to come on Saturdays. So it's what we've been talking about all the time, showing up, accountability. I do an accountability call on Saturdays, and I call everybody out, with the inner circle people. Yeah. So there's ways you can get people to take action, but for me to take action, I have to do it in the moment. I have to do it daily, and then I break it down. Okay, next month. Okay, let's double the sales or let's triple the sales. See what I'm saying? What do we need to do to do that? Type thing.
So it's like you take and say, okay, I at least have to talk to 5 people today, or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
I even chunk it. Yep, exactly. I even chunk it down. And when I started working with Susan, I said, this is what I've always done in order to bring in X amount of dollars a month. And yes, you break it right down to 20 to 30 leads, for instance, coming through your sales funnel, for instance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you ever, I'm going to ask this, do you ever find, I found this is just what I found with my experience, whether it's been in work or with friends or with sports or whatever. Do you ever find that when someone has a passion for something, they set their goals on their own almost automatically? They're driven, and you don't have to do anything to even get behind and give them a little push, right? But when they have that passion, it's set in motion already. Do you find that?
Absolutely. Yeah, you have to love what you're doing, and you have to absolutely have passion with it. Like my husband loves real estate. Loves it, absolutely loves it with a passion, and he's always loved it. He's always loved coin collecting, for instance, right? So that's and even antique cars and things like that. I like traveling. That's my passion. I love just traveling, being able to be free. There's just something about that, and it's adventure, right? So I just don't like to be grounded to one spot. In fact, it's like time to move, I mean, that's just how I am. But so the goal for 2016 is to have, to be in different states. So, and that's just the thing. It's just a choice, right?
That's right.
But you got to be passionate about helping people. For one, if you're a people person and you really like seeing others succeed, then this is a great industry to be in, because just to see people's change in them, it just really fires me up. And same with Susan. We get so many people, so many testimonials. Thank you for this and thank you for that. That's what really jazzes us.
Yeah. I noticed Susan's back now. She's probably got her instructions.
And you guys are talking about exactly what where I was hoping we would go next. It's funny. Um,
Yeah, you definitely have to love what you do, though, right? When you're writing your goals down.
yeah, absolutely. And that's why one of the first things that I do, like say somebody comes to either to both of us for mentoring, and they'll want to like let's get set up or how do I generate leads or those are their kind of questions, and I'm always like, okay, hold on, we can't start with that because we have to figure out your passion. You have to figure out why you're doing this. You have to do the inside work before the outside work comes into play because just like both of you have been saying, you have to love what you're doing to be able to give it your all, right? So why are you doing this? If we just give you a list of tasks to do, you're not going to do them dedicatedly, wholeheartedly
Mm-mm.
until you know why you're doing it. So
Exactly,
all
exactly.
of your goals, all of your actions, whether it's your daily actions, your monthly actions, whatever it is, they have to have a why behind them. They have to mean something, otherwise you're just going to quit. And that's why 9 out of 10 people that start a home-based business end up quitting because they haven't figured out their why yet for each step and overall their why.
Hmm.
So that's essential.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, because when people think about, money, they're not really thinking about that dollar amount. They're thinking about, oh gosh, I want to do this with it. Like I want to buy a snowmobile. I'm just putting it out there. You know what I'm saying? Or I just want to buy a ATV mule. I mean, these are things that I'm thinking about in my head because that's what I think, right? Or I want a hot tub or whatever, right? So those are the things that we all want, materialistic things. Or are you like helping people? I mean, the best Christmas memories that I have as a kid is my parents helping a homeless man and people around town. It wasn't all those Christmas presents underneath the tree. It was always given to people that were in need or that needed help. So that's the kind of thing, that makes you feel really good, right? And and that's the kind of just environment that I've always been, raised in. So my grandpa, just like my grandpa, he was a farmer. He'd give his shirt off his back. I mean, for his hired hands and stuff like that. So, but
My
yeah, you
grandpa
want,
was like that too.
was he?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
amazing. Yeah, we have a lot in common when it comes to our family, don't we, Susan?
Yeah, farming background and the kind of people that would give everything they had to somebody in need.
Yeah, and it's so crazy because I mean, different countries, but yet we still have so much in common. My Canadian friend, and country girl. I'm a country girl too.
Yeah. So, do you guys have any closing thoughts? We're at the top of the hour already. Holy, this is flown by.
Wow, it has. When you're talking about goals and stuff like this, it just does. It flies right by because it's a fun subject for
Oh,
me
yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
Well, and let me just say something. Sometimes it's not fun, like putting goals down. It's actually, I
It should hurt a little bit. Like it
it
should
should
touch us
actually
on the
hurt a
nerve.
little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, who says, oh my God, I want to lose X amount of pounds. I'm going to be really excited about losing this weight. I'm going to be really excited about having no cookies for Christmas. I'm going to be really excited about no fudge. I mean, who says that? Right? So you have to be like, you have to look at the outcome sometimes of your goal in order to see what I'm saying? Like you have to look at the exit strategy or you have to look at what's the end in sight, right?
That's why I
Sometimes
say
it's not
why I
fun.
look at the big picture, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I look at that big picture where I want to be and break it backwards. And I tell you what is for most people doing their goals, it's very hard and very difficult because they sit down and they take a pen and they look at a piece of paper and it's a blank piece of paper and they go, where do I start? What do I write? What? Instead, sit back, put your feet up on the deck or something like that in the sun, or with us in the winter, you can have a hot chocolate, I guess. But that dream about it in your head first, right?
Mhm.
Get the visions in your head, right? And take those visions because if you take visions and put it on paper, it's a lot easier. Just think
Yes.
about it, and so what if you think it's not realistic? Still put it down. That's your starting point, right? And for me, anyways.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I agree, and then build out from there.
Yeah, because people don't you don't think in words, you think in pictures. You
Yep.
write in words. So, and I'm first of all, just before we shut off here, I want to thank you again for inviting me. I appreciate it very much, and I enjoyed the chat. And all I'm going to say is highlight a couple of things, and that's your passion and do your goals on purpose. Because I know that that's what I've got from Susan a lot over the last while since I've got to know her. It's more that purpose word, and it's getting entrenched in me, and it's a really good word. So, anyways,
It will.
yeah. So,
A lot of the words will. Believe me.
so have that
Yeah.
passion and that purpose, right? Don't make it hard for yourself. Use your this is me. Use your 5 W's and the H, I call it, like the who, what, why, where, and how. And when you win at something or win at your goal, that's going to motivate you to go the next one and reward yourself. Those are key areas for me as when you break it down.
Awesome. Thank you, Corey. Tammy?
Exactly. Well, and I want to say simply to the people that are listening, work with us, okay? Because I don't usually that sounds silly, but it really is truthful. If you want to really change your life, work with us. I've helped Susan. Susan's helped me, and we're just really here in it to just really change lives. I mean, one of my goals is to honestly make 100 six-figure earners in 2016. I know that sounds like a crazy huge goal, but you know what? I mean, just listening and implementing, if you actually do that and just do what, honestly, that Susan and I do, then you can be right along there and bank 6 figures a year like her and I do. And the thing is it's action is really what you have to take. You have to take the action. You have to take that leap of faith that like her and I did, and the thing is like we didn't have no net. We still don't have a net. We don't have a guaranteed income coming in every single month. I mean, this is what we do for our livelihood. So honestly, I definitely love these conversations. I appreciate you having this as a topic, Susan, and absolutely looking forward to more of these. And tomorrow we got a noon blab, and we'll talk some more on it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Tammy.
Thank you. Thank you for changing my direction this year. Oh, yeah. I mean, an event was not even on my radar. And Susan said about, hey, you want to do a live event? And I was like, oh, yeah, I always wanted to do one of those, but I didn't know I was going to do it so soon. So, yeah.
That was one of my big seemingly unachievable goals for 2015. I said it in the fall of 2014. I said, at some point in 2015, I want to host I didn't want to host my own. I wanted to co-host an event. So Thank you for helping me achieve that.
You're absolutely welcome. I'm glad we did it.
So my final closing thoughts, again, to give you as the audience something to go away with, please write these down. Remember to be positive, precise, realistic, and write down your goals. Clarify what you mean. So that's a great idea that you gave them, Corey. Sit and let yourself visualize it and get it all in there, and then clarify it by writing it down. It's a process. As you're working towards and into your goals, you can adjust them. Make it a part of a journey. Don't make them so rigid that they're not adaptable and adjustable. If you're not meeting them, adjust them, and make sure that you're evaluating your goals as you're working through them through the year. Improvise and adapt. Always be planning how you're going to reach each step of the goals, and just go for it and create. Design your life. It's all in your hands.
Because why, Susan? Because why?
Yeah. What? Because you absolutely deserve it.
There you go. Those are the words.
And that's all I have to say.
That's exactly it. Those are the words right there. You got to remember that, guys. Write it down.
Yeah. You absolutely deserve the time and the energy in setting these goals, and you deserve to achieve them. You
Yes.
are worthy. Maybe that should be on one of your goals for 2016. Really figure out how to truly believe that you are worthy, that you absolutely deserve whatever it is you decide to achieve. That should
Can
be
I
on the
add to
goal
that?
list.
Can I add to that, Susan?
Sure.
When you say worthy, that's part of. It's funny you say that. It's part of like your self-esteem and personal development type thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I read in the morning. Every morning I spend that time reading, and my time positive things that put positive things in your mind. And what happens is you start to believe you're the person, right? And that's where it comes from. Because if you just go to work in the morning, the first thing is, how are you doing this morning? Oh, great, another day at work. That's what you get. That negativity starts right away. So the worthiness can come from reading the right material and being around the right people. So make that part of your goals too.
Yeah, it's just like your health depends on what you feed yourself.
Yep,
Your
exactly.
self-confidence and your worthiness depends on what you feed it.
What
So,
Yes.
and that's what you feed your mind, right?
mhm, yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? You get to choose who rides on your magic bus, and you have a door, and you can kick them off your bus.
That's right. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh man, that's
And
another good goal to
yeah,
have. Who you want to keep on your bus and who you don't want on your bus.
Yeah.
yeah, most people don't realize that since you're the driver, you do get to kick people off if you want.
That's right. Yeah.
On that note, we'll say goodnight and we'll see all of you in the next video, the next hangout, the next blab, wherever you decide to show up. Thank you again, Corey, for joining us. You were a great addition to the value shared tonight. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
And thank you again, Tammy, for always being an amazing person and partner and friend.
Thank you very much, Susan. Appreciate you. And thank you, Corey. You guys have a
Thank you.
good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Thanks.
Good night.